Today I wanted to talk about the progression towards knowing when your deities are trying to be known to you. Yes, guys, you may be waiting for an explosion of something to happen, when in fact they are already trying to contact you. A lot of people expect to see something wonderful happen, you know, like a I know it's definitely from them. It doesn't always work like that, and I do believe in the way that I've practiced over the years, even though told not to practice this way by where I was learning. It still comes down to who you are inside, what you think up here, and whether you believe, because that is half the problem solved. So what do I mean by that? Well, your psychic abilities do come into it, because to perceive deity coming and being in your life, you have to be able to meet them at their level, or halfway there at least. And I do not accept this when you go and join a group that they tell you it's a religion of life. We don't deal with the dead. We don't do any of that. I'm sorry, if that is part of who you are, guys, then that is what you need to progress to where you want to be. Groups are great, but there is an ethos to that group which everyone that joins normally has to adhere to. When you work alone, you can do it your way. Nobody's going to tell you what's right and what's wrong. So there are pros and cons to both sides. If you're in a group and you're happy and you don't mind, that's great. If you're solitary but lonely, that can be a bit of a downfall, because you're the one who is in control of your practice. And sometimes it's hard to keep up a daily thing when there's nobody pushing you at times. So you have to be able to sustain your practice as a solitary. But as I'm older, I find that that is a lot easier for me. But what I would say is, if you really want to know and get experiences of deity, you have to be able to look for the small, insignificant things. A breeze appearing out of nowhere, a feather on the floor, a stone near your cup which shouldn't have been there. Different little things like that, or a number appearing constantly during the day. Little things build up to big things. It's an individual thing. Now, I've had many experiences over the years, and I've known when deity is around me, and like I can say to you honestly, I can feel when Freya's around me, but it's because I've been practicing for so long and I'm in tune with her that I can feel that. But other people won't see her, they won't know that she's there. It's me that perceives it. It's my brain, my spirit that's perceiving it. It could be not there, but I believe she's there. Do you get the point? You have to believe in what you believe. You have to believe in what you don't always see, but is relevant that day. Gifts given out of nowhere. Like, for example, walking down the street and somebody giving you a loaf of bread. Now, I've had that happen to me when we've been on our uppers and I've not had enough money, and I've gone down the high street and this lady has come out and said, "Did you drop this loaf of bread?" And I've said, "No." She said, "Well, I don't need it. Would you like it?" And I've gone, "Oh, thank you." And it's been well in date as well. You have to look at that. Now, Somebody could look at that and say, well, that was nice of that lady. She just did it on the off chance. Could have been anybody. But it was you. It was you, guys. So you look at that and think, that was a gift. Deity have looked at your situation that day and thought, we will make use of this opportunity and gift you back. I would suggest, if you are in the beginnings of your practice and you haven't looked at the psychic side of yourself, would be a good time to start to learn to open up. Now, I have got many videos on different aspects of doing this, but to do this you need to do it daily, and it would be a simple thing at night before you go to bed to meditate for 5 minutes, to think about the chakras, learn about the chakras and open them up and close them after, gradually doing it for longer. You will start to feel different. You will start to have the opening of the third eye, and that's when you will start to perceive things you never noticed before. So the psychic, I feel, is very important, and people might say, but not everybody's psychic. Well, actually, we are. It's just some people are closed off to it, whereas others are open. The ones that are completely shut off will probably never change their mind. They'll be scientific in mind and the way they are, and they will poo-hoo anything somebody says about spiritual stuff. You will get the religious ones that are completely involved in their religion, that will not open up to anything psychic or spiritual because they've been told that's wrong, it's bad. And then you get those that are indifferent, that are maybe okay, maybe not. And then you've got the others who are spiritual but have never delved into it. Well, when you delve into it, you will open up and you will find different ways of seeing things that you always looked at in a different way before. The point is to find that part of you that you probably never used before. There have been witches that I've known that have never used a psychic bone in their body, but they have still done spell work and all that and believed in it. And when I say to them, but you do use it, don't you? What do you mean? When you're doing spell work, what are you doing? You're focusing on one aspect and sending your energy to it. And if that isn't psychic or spiritual, what is? They'll still say, that's coming from within me, that's power. Sorry, that is spiritual power, yes, but it also comes from your intent, your mind, your spiritual mind. The focus on spell work, it's all psychic. So, looking at it from that point of view, I now want to go on to some of my experiences. One of them in particular quite frightened me at the time, because I wasn't actually asking to see or feel anything that day. My mind wasn't set on that goal. I just wanted to do a healing ritual for somebody, and it was in the winter, so obviously it was lights and stuff in the evening. So I had the room well lit, and I found my old chalice from the Coven days, which was really big. I mean, it was bigger than this cup. It was probably about that tall, and it was silver. And I thought, do you know what? It's just sitting there going horrible colour. I'm going to get it out, I'm going to polish it up, and I'm going to make use of it. So, while I was polishing this up, I was thinking back to Coven days, how we used to sit round and clean all the metals up before circle, and how people used to complain that, oh gosh, we've got to do the chalice, or we've got to do the censer and all the chains, and you know, it was quite grueling. But I smiled and I thought to myself, you know, there was lessons in that. And I appreciate that now. I appreciate everything I learnt. At the time it was stressful, but now I look back and I think, yeah, I can understand why I had to do all that. So I was thinking on those terms while I was polishing. I was thinking about what I'm going to do for spell work and what gods or goddesses I was going to ask to be present. It was a very important healing ritual and I wanted it to work. I wanted the person to receive the benefits of it. So much so, there was so much in my heart, the compassion and everything was just bubbling over, how much I wanted to help. I felt, now it was quite warm, we had the radiators on and it suddenly started to feel really cold in the room. And I thought, oh, has the radiator stopped working? And I went over, no, it was boiling hot. I thought, this isn't right, have I got a window open? And we checked and there was no window open. I thought to myself, what's going on? There's something not quite right here. And so I carried on polishing this beautiful chalice, and the more I polished, the beautiful it was. It was so big and so beautiful. And I looked at it and I thought, why have I got one that is so big? Why do I need one that is so big? You know, it's ridiculous. At that point, I felt I've polished it enough. I'm going to put it on my altar. As I put it on the altar just looked so cluttered. There was so much on there. And I thought, no, I don't want anything other than the chalice on there. The chalice of life, the rebirth, everlasting life, the mead of the gods, silver that we work with. Everything pointed towards just being focused on that, almost like a crystal ball. So I'm putting it on the altar now that I've cleaned everything else off. And I'm standing there looking at it. And I lit the candles, guys, and the light bulb went out. It stopped working. And I thought, oh no, I need to change the light bulb. So at this point, I'm starting the ritual and I thought, I'll sort that out in a minute. And I'm looking at the chalice. When this feeling came upon me, it was like as if somebody you knew was coming in the room and they were going to come up to you and touch you. It was that sort of feeling. And I thought someone had come in. And I looked round, there was no one there. Like an idiot, I'm thinking, oh, what's going on? I did a quick protection spell around me. I heard laughter. A man laughing. And I thought, oh my God, what's that? Like you would. Wasn't expecting any of this. I was calling on Freya, not Odin. But guess who was there? Yes. In the chalice appeared the face of Odin. You could see my face clearly in the chalice, and you could see someone standing behind me with their head over my shoulder, looking like that. And it was there, and I was taken aback so much. He sort of turned his head towards me like that, or like that towards my neck, and I'm like horrified. And he just laughed and faded away. Well, you could have knocked me down with a feather. It shook me up, I've got to tell you, because even though I might be psychic or mediumistic or have all those abilities, when these things happen out of the blue, you're not ready to experience it. And it didn't scare me, but it shook me up. And I had to sit down and the ritual stopped. The strange thing is, whenever Odin shows up, there's a reason. And you know what the reason was? I'll tell you. The spell I was about to do would have been detrimental to the health of this person, because this person was about to give birth, and the child was classified as already dead. And I was trying to bring the child back. And I was going to Freya to ask for her help. It's a no-no. And Odin was there to put me right because it stopped me from doing that spell. Instead, I felt Freya then come through in my mind, showing me that it would be better to do a blessing spell to help the mother cope and to aid the child in its next part of its journey, whatever the Norns had planned for this child. So I begrudgingly did this spell, and as I finished the spell, the phone rang, and I ran to the phone and I picked it up because it was the landline, to this mother, so it was the grandmother, crying on the phone. I thought, oh no, it's happened. Instead of which, she was joyous. The baby was not dead after all. The baby, they couldn't find her heart on the scan, but when she was born, she took a breath and they were able to get her sustained on the machinery, and she was doing quite well. And I can honestly say that child is still alive to this day and is probably about 12 years old now. So you go to see things like that that you could never have imagined happen. And, well, I was on a high for weeks about that one, thinking, wow, not only did this spell help, but if I'd have done the other one, that could have counteracted what was going on. And see, Odin knew what was going on, and so did Freya. And they put me right, they put me in my place. Who am I to be doing death and life spells? That's not on. Who do I think I am? So guys, that was one exceptional moment. I've had many others that have been quite small. Like sometimes I have been woken up in the middle of the night and I just know something's going on. It's very quiet. At these times, my husband used to work shift work, so he wouldn't be in the house. I'd be totally alone apart from our pet greyhound. And at the time, that was Bobby, who passed away a little while ago. He was quite a scaredy cat when it came to spirit stuff, and he would hide behind me, bless him. You know, not all dogs are brave. Anyway, I was downstairs and I knew it was a full moon and I knew it was time to do something. I'd just been woken up, so I got up and I went downstairs. Because once I'm woken up, I know there's obviously a reason, so I get up. I made myself a drink and I was just sitting in the living room minding my own business when I heard a noise. And it sounded like something falling on the floor. You know, something small, like, you know, sometimes things fall off and you hear them. And I thought, what could that have been? And I'm hunting around the room and I can't find anything. When I got back to my seat, on my seat was my Athame. Now, my Athame was in my bedroom. No. How did that get down there? Now, I sat there looking at it thinking, did I bring that down? Without realising, thinking I'm going to do something. And I'm thinking, I don't know whether I did or not. Anyway, I picked it up and it felt warm. This is weird. Funnily enough, this particular week I'd been doing a lot of work with Tyr. Now he is renownedly known for his sword, and I have a sword which I actually put his markings on and made that sword for Tyr. And I thought, why am I being shown my Athame? So I went upstairs with the Athame to put it back, and my sword was underneath the altar. It had been pushed at an angle and it was getting bent. So I had to move the table. I don't know how it happened. So I pulled it out and it was slightly bent. So I spent about an hour or so trying to bend it back in shape. I then sat and meditated and I realised they were trying to show me the damage that was happening to the sword, because the sword had been dedicated to Tyr. And that's an insult then, isn't it? Again, another way that I've been pushed to do something. Another time it would be candles that I got the wrong colour and they wouldn't light. And then one that did light fell off and went into my lap. Luckily the flame went out before it touched me. And that was Freya's energy. Sometimes she likes it set a right way. People say, how do you know this is deity and not just you? Guys, as I said with the psychic stuff, you can feel the energy. The energies are around you and you can sense them. So sometimes when I'm out walking around and I know somebody's in need, a voice will be heard in my head. And it will say something like, that lady. Nothing else, just that lady. And you think, oh my goodness, what am I supposed to do now? But funnily enough, you don't need to worry, because that lady happened to come over and talk to me. She said, I hope you don't mind me having a chat with you, dear. She said, but I'm on my own and I often look at people when I'm out and I think that person I'd like to chat to. She said, would you mind chatting with me for a little while? And I said, of course not. That's fine. It turns out, she said, I hope you don't mind me telling you, but she said, I'm actually a witch. She said, I hope that doesn't scare you. She said, but I feel you are. I said, correct. And we had a lovely chat about, and she was quite elderly, so the stuff that she had to tell me was fantastic. And she gave me some good ideas and some good tips, and she told me stories of the past. And I went home so enlightened and so happy that I'd met this lady, and that it was a kindred spirit. And that's what I mean, guys. You have to look for the mysterious, the synchronicity in things, and the belief. You've got to believe to see. When it comes to other things, like another time I'm sitting doing stuff at my altar when I knew I should be doing other things. They will tell you when you're in the wrong. They will put you right. Now, I was supposed to be going to see a friend, and to be honest, I was putting my craft before the needs of a friend. The reason I was doing that was because I thought it was necessary to do this ritual, because it was full moon and I knew I had to do it that night if I was going to do it. And it wasn't even for other people, it was for something silly, really. Instead of this friend that had asked me over for dinner, and I sort of said no. So I started the ritual and everything was going wrong. Everything was falling over, the candles wouldn't light, the incense went mental, and I sat there and I thought, okay, something's not right. So I meditated, and all I got was no. The word no, just in letters in front of my eyes. No, no, no. And that was it. I thought, okay, I'm not meant to do ritual tonight. And then I went downstairs and I was about to start doing my dinner when it entered my head about my friend, and I felt really bad. So I rang her up and I said, I'm sorry. I said I couldn't make it, but I could now. Is that okay? And she went, of course. She said, I haven't started cooking. She said, we'll have a takeaway. Come round now. Anyway, I went round to see her, and the reason she wanted me to come round was because she wanted me to meet her new partner that she was going to marry. How's that, guys? If I hadn't have gone round there, I wouldn't have found that out. She would have probably not bothered to tell me for a while, and it might have put a strain on the relationship. But as such, I went round, we had dinner with her new partner, And she'd been alone for a long time, so this was really lovely news for her. They were going to start a new life, and she even had plans to start a family with him. And he was lovely, and they were so meant to be. We had a lovely meal together, and she said to me, when we get married, will you be my chief bridesmaid? And I was really, oh, thank you. And so that's another way in which they work. And I'm not telling you guys that they're always with you, because they're not. But if they think you need telling something, they will tell you. So these are some of the examples that I'm giving you. There have been small ones like finding acorns at the right time of the year that you can then do for spell work. I know they're abundant, but not always. Depends where you live. Another way Deity will contact you as well will be in your dreams, guys. That's why I tell a lot of you to have a dream diary, because if you write things down, they can match up at later dates. You can put it all together and get the bigger picture. I remember going to bed once thinking, I wish I could talk to my family because they're all passed away. I wish I could see my mum again. I wish I could talk to them again. And I went to sleep feeling that way. And when I went into dreams, first of all, I saw Freya. And she came over and she said, come with me, come. She wanted me to be at peace in my mind. And she showed me the love within me for my family. And she showed me things that had happened as a child when I was little, how my mother had nurtured me and how that was in me from my mother. And so I had a piece of her within me, and I was doing that now to my children and their children, and becoming the grandmother and the mother that would have been just like my mother, and I presume her mother before. And Freya just wanted to put my mind at rest, letting me know that even though I can't talk to her anymore, my mother, or see her, she's here. She's in the heart. And I woke up feeling totally better, and I wrote it all down. And I have books now where I can look back and I think, oh, I dreamt that, and that happened, and that happened. So you see, you just need to have an open mind and an open heart, and don't let people tell you what you can and cannot believe or be, because you are individual. Your spirit is your individuality. Your path is yours, even if you are part of a group. You don't have to tell them what you're doing. You do your own thing in your own time, because you're not always going to be in a group, or you're not always going to be doing what you're doing. One day you will probably be like me, older and solitary. And it's nice to have all that to look back on. So I hope this has helped some of you in some way. I just wanted to put this out because I know a lot of people try to put a division between witchcraft and psychic phenomena. To my mind, a witch is everything encompassed. We sense, we feel, we hear, we see, we do. And that is the beauty of being a witch. It is the seership. If there was no psychic phenomena, where did the seers get their abilities from? Where did Odin get his abilities from? His wisdom and his knowledge of the spiritual arts of the witch Seder practice. How did he learn about the runes and how to read them, how to use them magically? How did he know right from the beginning how to do things like give the breath of life to humans? So we have to say to ourselves, I think a lot of this is man-made. We are who we are, and if we have gifts, They are our gifts, and I want you guys to go away and try to put it all together and see how you progress. It might not be for some of you, but if you do want to experience the unknown or experience more psychic abilities, there are ways of progressing. And once you've done that, you can use it all and build yourself up in your practice. So I'm going to leave it there. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I want to thank all my new subscribers, and for those that are always here helping me to keep this channel going. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. So wherever you are, whatever time of day, night or evening it may be, I wish you the best ever. House of Belay.